All right, Zach, we're on take 4.
Take 4.
I had to cut that joke. I had to
No,
cut
and
it.
it was totally fine. It
I
was
had,
right up against the button, but it wasn't pressing it.
I had to cut that joke for the same reason as the Nirvana joke.
Yeah, you're right. That's fair.
Yep.
That was about as bad as my neurotic joke.
Yep. Now that's not me
Uh,
saying it's not funny. Hello, Zach. I would like to thank you for being here. I'd also like to thank our patrons. Our patrons,
yeah,
pictured in the back here. It means a lot that you do the things that you do because that means that we get to keep doing the things that we do. It really means a lot. And Zach, you broke the last recording, so the surprise is a little gone.
yeah, just a wee bit.
So why don't you tell everybody what I have done?
You've set up a PO box
Correct.
for the Interesting Nerd Club.
Yes. It might not be up when this video goes live, check the description, but we're going to treat it like a nerd poll, and over the course of the next 6 months or so, in videos we're going to be reminding you, everyone at home, you fine individuals, you wonderful beautiful people, you are under no obligation to send anything to this PO box. But if you do, we will read it on stream.
Yeah, we'll read and/or view and/or consume it on stream,
Now, there will
depending on
of
what it is.
course be some exceptions, and you know what they are.
Yep, yep. You can think of all the things you shouldn't send us, and you shouldn't send those things. We don't need to tell you, hopefully.
Now, you can also think of all the things that you that would be weird to send us. You don't necessarily not need to send those things. I'm thinking, whatever whatever you want. Send letters, send packages, send heartfelt movie recommendations. Let's see. Send us uh, uh, send us shitty paperback books. You're cleaning out
Drawings.
your basement and you find some VHS tapes.
Yeah.
I am so excited to see what you guys bring, and I have like a focus for this. Okay, I have a focus for this project. I want if you send stuff, and you don't have to. If you send stuff, I want it to be stuff that you're interested in, not stuff you think that we are interested in. I want it to be stuff that you are interested in. All right? Okay? Zach, does
Okay.
that sound
Yeah.
reasonable?
Please do. That's completely reasonable.
All right.
And if there's overlap, that's great. But we love to experience new things and learn new things.
Yeah,
So
I just
that,
we just love we really enjoy people, and this is a way for us to interact with nerds and experience some of the things that you guys like and love that we might never get a chance to experience. Um, and if you completely disregard the assignment and send something else, we'll read that too. Zach, thank you very much for joining me today. Um,
thank you for having me today.
I have a Y episode today.
I'm excited. I'm very excited about a Y episode.
I think you're gonna like this one because it's real short. It's real short and real simple, but I think we're gonna find some real juice to it.
I'm all for the juice.
At oh, it's immediately wrong. Funk, funk. At Winterfell, the maester is named Luwin.
Okay.
Full stop. That's the end of it.
So I presume we're going to talk about names in A Song of Ice and Fire, right?
Absolutely.
Luwin. So the thing about maesters is we don't know exactly where they come from usually. They can be from noble families, but they can also not be from noble families. I don't think Pate, who we see training there, is of noble birth. Uh, but there's different levels, right, of nobility and of uh, positions you can end up in Westeros. Class mobility is usually very, very, very bad, but it's not impossible, right? We know some prominent examples. Dunk went from being a beggar at Flea Bottom to, Lord Commander of the Kingsguard.
Hmm.
And with only to go off of the name Luwin, we know jack shit about the guy in terms of what he did before he was the Maester at Winterfell, a position he's held for a very long time.
Let's see. How long
Is
has
that
he been there? He's described as tireless.
he replaced uh Maester Waelys, who
Yeah.
was there with Rickard and died, I think, at the beginning of Robert's Rebellion. Uh,
Died at the beginning of Robert's Rebellion.
yeah, then
Interesting.
the second half of it. So he died the
Interesting.
same year as Rickard, which
Well,
makes him.
well, Zach,
Uh
I
huh.
I have some wonderful, terrible news.
Uh huh.
Um, Luwin is a name that appears elsewhere in the story.
Really?
Yes. And that is what sort of got me thinking in these sorts of ways. Um, Prince Prince Luwin Martell was a knight of the Kingsguard under Aerys the second. Doesn't that just make things interesting?
That it
We
does.
love names here. We really do. Um,
So,
we talk about Jon Snow's name at length for a long time.
so Luwin Martell obviously is spelled differently, but like if we look at Europe, which Westeros is based on, as the historical example, Jacques, very common name in French, not very common in English, but Jack, well, that's a pretty common name in English, and it's the same name essentially.
Hmm.
Uh, and there's examples of that with pretty much every like common English name you can think of. It's different in French, different in German, different in all the similar languages and all that.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of space between Dorne in the north, obviously.
like you
Big
have your John, your Jean, and your Johann,
yes,
which are all functionally the same name, just transliterated differently. And I find that extremely interesting. Um, and like I stopped and I did a double take when I saw this.
yeah.
So this is our Y episode, Zach. This is the premise of these episodes. We have found something in the series that is weird, and George Martin doesn't put things in that are weird just for no reason.
Yes.
So why does Maester Luwin have the same name as Luwin Martell?
That is very
Isn't
interesting.
that weird?
Uh, I do want to point out, just because this is instantly where my brain went, we're both boring in the most like close languages. Our names don't change whatsoever.
Say again.
You gotta. Oh, I went to a chart because this is immediately where my mind went to. I'm like, I'm gonna get one of those charts that shows like names across different languages, and I immediately said, okay, for comparison, let's look at Zack and Todd. And very unfortunately, those names pretty much stay, with the exception of uh when you get to Italian, it gets a little wacky. For me, it becomes Zaccaria, and it becomes for you uh Tommaso, and then of course in Spanish and Portuguese it's Tomas. Uh, but Zach it stays pretty much Zacharias or Zachary until you get to Italian. That's Zaccaria. and Zacarias for Spanish. Interesting. So the Luwin change, the pronunciation is retained.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, or at the very least, we can infer that because we don't have a great direct source for pronunciation in Westeros. Because if we're going off of the audiobooks, it's Pitire Baelish, and I
Yeah.
categorically reject that
Yeah,
answer.
because
And
for
notably, the show disagrees also.
yeah, the show does disagree, and like George Martin has made it clear that you can pronounce this Levian if you want to.
Yes.
All right, so let's I'm gonna throw up some facts about these individuals here. Okay,
Go for it.
we're gonna get to the most obvious one first. Um, Luwin Martell died in 291. 281, I'm sorry, in Robert's Rebellion.
Before um, Maester Luwin ends up in Winterfell, because he goes there presumably 283.
I'm sorry, was it 281 or 283? Let me. Luwin Martell
He died
died
in 283.
283. I'm
Luwin
sorry,
Martell died
283.
at the Trident,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm. Died at the
So that's
Battle of the Trident.
283. He died the same year that Maester Luwin ended up there.
Isn't that interesting? Uh, let's see, where was it? According to, oh, I just saw it here. Um, they have their wonderful the wonderful like birth estimates that people have
Yeah.
done for every character. Luwin Martell was born between 219 and 231 AC. Zach, you look at that. You look at that and you tell me what the obvious answer is.
There's no way.
You tell me what the
And
obvious answer is.
the obvious
Uh
answer.
huh.
I'm not going to entertain. There's no way.
Just tell me what the obvious
Absolutely.
answer is, Zach.
Are you inferring they're the same person?
I mean, it's not a very good cover.
Also, he's at no point described as looking Dornish, which is something notably George describes whenever he describes somebody who's Dornish.
He really loves to do that.
We definitely know the color of Ariane Martell's nipples.
We do. We know that extremely well.
We get reminded of that a good couple times.
That's made really very clear. Uh, now you are correct, but we only see um
So I'm trolling through the Wiki of Ice and Fire articles for both of them, and what I
uh
forgot. The funny thing is, I am actually re-listening to Clash right now. I did a bunch of breaks to listen to other books and get them taken care of, including all the Duncan Egg novellas, which were
oh,
great.
did you finish all three of them?
Yes.
I'm so glad.
Uh, what I forgot, even though I'm listening to it right now, is that we know that he has the Valyrian steel link on his Maester's chain.
We do know this.
That is incredibly rare. That's higher mysteries.
Absolutely.
That is the X Files chain.
Yes, yes, it is. Wait, no, that's Doctor Who. How
Do do
does
do do
do do do do do
do
do
do do do do
do.
do do.
He is skeptical of hedge wizards and old Nan stories. Yeah, yeah, yeah. In his sleeves are sewn pockets from which Luwin is always drawing things. That reminds me of someone, Zach.
That's close up magic.
In Luwin's in Luwin's sleeves, hidden pockets. That reminds me of close up magic. But it also specifically reminds me of Melisandre's close up magic.
Oh yeah. Melisandre does do close-up magic.
Yeah, she has her sleeves are all full of like potions and salves and powders to make like bangs and pops.
Yeah, very very quick turnaround sort of thing. Immediately grab it and throw it sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what was I gonna say? Maybe he's not using it for close-up magic. Maybe it's like a Dale Gribble thing where he just has so much pocket sand.
Pocket sand.
Although you would think then if he had so much pocket sand that he could have held off the like small Ironborn attack of Winterfell by himself, right?
I just I'm sorry. So I have a sidebar. I just read a quote about Wallis, the Luwin's predecessor. Once he
Yeah,
forged his chain, his secret father and his friends wasted no time dispatching him to Winterfell to fill Lord Rickard's ears with poisoned words as sweet as honey. The Tully marriage was his notion, never doubt it.
that's Barbary Dustin, who hates Maesters. That's the that's a big part of the Southron ambitions theory.
Damn. That shit is wild. I love this series. Okay, we can't get into that
Yeah,
yet. Take me back. Take me back to Luwin. Take me back to Luwin. Okay. All right, let's talk about Luwin. Let's talk about Maester Luwin, okay? Uh,
it's they believe it was Archmaester Walgrave who fathered him. Is there anything interesting about? Oh, he lost his mind. He went crazy. Interesting.
my favorite. I love this series so much because sometimes you turn over a rock and there's a crazy maester at Winterfell.
No, the son of a maester who lost his mind.
Oh,
He may have
Walgrave.
been
Yeah,
involved in a conspiracy.
yeah. We do know that Walgrave lost his mind. That's sort of
Yes.
on. That's sort of like half on screen, I think, through the eyes of Pate. Yeah, I think Pate served Walgrave before he was unceremoniously executed by definitely Jack and Hagar.
Yes.
Anyway, um, so the description of Luwin is a small gray man with gray eyes and thinning hair.
Okay.
Now, that 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 could to me be a description of a person. It is a that's a description of the clothes, right? Not
Uh-huh.
not the man. I do not think that is cause to dispute whether like I don't think that gives us any information about where he is or is not from.
It makes some places substantially less likely, but it's not. This is not like a dark of hair, blue eyes, full of muscle sort of thing, right?
Exactly.
This guy ain't a Bobby B bastard.
Y- yes. Um like if, a small gray man could be anybody.
Yes.
Anybody wearing gray could be described as a small gray man, regardless of what color their skin is, right? Uh,
Yeah.
uh, uh, I mean,
We
maybe,
usually the Roinar have dark eyes and olive skin, so it kind of I not sold he's a Roinar, but he could be that they're the Sandy Dornish. They're still the Stony Dornish, right? Who are
yeah, the ones who smoke a
Andals, I
lot.
believe. Yeah, yes, the ones who smoke a lot. Yes.
Delivered all the children of Lord Eddard Stark. So it's okay. So it's very strange to me that the Maester at Winterfell appears to have a Dornish name. Why is Maester Luwin called Maester Luwin?
Well, it's possible to see Luwin. That's the well. Let's assume Martell is a Roinar. We know that for sure. Maester Luwin is probably not Roinar. Roinar is probably a different language group, but there's a Westerosi like common. However, that common is probably filtered through the previous languages that people spoke, which would have been, I think, linguistic groups wise. We're going to talk about Westerosi linguistic groups, which is something that I've thought about a lot. The first men, the Andals, and the Rhoynar probably have all their own like languages that might come from a similar root language or might not. And then there's probably variations based on isolation and whether those groups were like uh melting pot cultures like the Ironborn might be. The Ironborn might be a melting pot between either the first men or Andals and I don't know, fish people, squishers,
Yeah,
or
fish
something of
people
that
question
sort.
mark.
And then you get things like geographic isolation, like the first men languages of the tribes of the Vale versus the tribes of the North, and the people in the North might be different. Then you get like there's a first men Andal hybrid in the Riverlands, which also has some like Ironborn in there, etc., etc. So is Luwin, Lewyn, the Rhoynar spelling, and then Luwin, Luwin, the Andal or first men spelling?
Interesting. Now, I would feel like the um the naming conventions tell me that the additions of Y's are a Valyrian bend.
And then yeah, then we have to talk about the Valyrian influence of having Valyrian rulers in there, a completely separate linguistic group. Although it seems like the some Rhoynar is closer to Valyrian question mark because we've Quentin Martell, right?
Yeah, Quentyn. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an example of a Y used the place where an I could be. So whether that's a Valyrian influence or not, and his middle name is Nymeros, which I presume is a masculinization of Nymeria.
Oh, that's a good take. Hmm.
This is fun. This is a fun conversation.
Right, isn't this interesting? Like I something is here. Something is here. And I don't know what it is.
Like, Nymeria is the like historic founder of House Martell, a like
No, she's the
re, a re, a real figure who is also like fictionalized to some extent, of which we
also
have many examples.
also maybe getting her own spin-off show, by the way,
Yeah, it might be.
called 10,000 Ships, I think. Very cool. Not as excited about that as I am for the Corlys Valerian show, but still excited.
I'm pumped about the Duncan Egg show, but uh,
I am not pumped about the Duncan Egg show, Zach. I'm not. I'm not pumped about it
why?
because there's only 3 books.
Okay, they can make up the whole plot in Dorne, and then they can just do random shit, right? That is one where I think going off the rails is the best possible like use of your time.
Oh, you think like they can pretty easily like serialize that one?
Yeah, what you do is you don't try and stretch out the 3 books into 5 seasons or 6 seasons. You run through the story as you know it. So by the time you're done with Dorne, you're done with season 1, basically, or you just yeah, you do like 4 or 5 episode runs. Do the first book is 4 episodes. Tell the story of Dorne in 4 episodes. Go to the Sword for four episodes. Mystery Night for 4 episodes. Then you can do She Wolves of Winterfell for 4 episodes, and then whatever they do at the Wall or whatever they do, somewhere else can come after that. I think that's the way you do it. HBO, please hire me as a consultant. Uh,
Wait, Zach, I found something very interesting.
what is that?
Take a lesson, Bran. The man who trusts in spells is dueling with a glass sword, as the children did. That that is almost exactly what I think it was Dala said to John.
And the
Matt,
and the glass sword is like a glass candle, right?
well, I believe that Dala said to John, magic is a sword without a hilt. There's no safe way to wield it.
And a sword of glass would shatter and be dangerous. But also, it's very invocative of a glass candle to me. A
Yeah,
weapon made of glass that is dangerous.
yeah. Well, I think that must come very, very close in Bran's story to Luwin describing the Valyrian steel links. Huh. Years pass in their hundreds and their thousands, and what does any man see of life but a few summers and a few winters? We look at mountains and call them eternal, and so they seem. But in the course of time, mountains rise and fall, rivers change their courses, stars fall from the sky, and great cities sink beneath the sea. Even gods die, we think. Everything changes. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Even gods die. I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, what the hell do you mean? Also, what great cities do you know that sank beneath the sea? I guess Valyria.
Yes.
I was gonna
Although that,
say
that
it.
implies like a that implies like an Atlantis thing. Although old Valyria is kind of Atlantis.
Yeah, you're right.
Uh,
Ooh, my Luwin says my order serves, and Theon says yes, but whom? And Luwin says the realm. I love this series so much. It's so good.
so curiosity here is like, okay, so if he could be an Andal, a stony Dornishman, or if the name is like a regional thing, Dormlands or the Reach are right nearby. That could be an interesting concept. The Reach obviously probably has a disproportionate amount of maesters because of the ease of getting to the Citadel if you already live in the Reach, right?
Hmm.
Like it shouldn't be surprising that uh, East Coast people predominantly are more likely to get into the Ivy League because it's all here.
Yep, 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 yep. Okay, all right, but hear me out though. He is actually Luwin Martell.
It's a fun idea, but for what purpose? I get like his story is done. He is dead. He is killed and then killed again in a way.
Well,
He is already dying when he is mercy killed.
see,
Spoilers.
that's the rub, isn't it? That's the why. Because this strikes in my brain a connection between Luwin and the Dornish. Why? What information could Maester Luwin have sent to the Dornish that would be useful to them? Is there any information that they have that is weird that they have and could be obtained by Maester Luwin intercepting letters through Winterfell?
Maybe that's not the okay, assuming the Dornish are the reason he's there, which I'm not sold on because again, the way Lewin is written out makes me think it is a different language group. Maybe the purpose of him being there is not to be a spy or to send information out, as he could get caught and stripped of his vows or stripped of his duties and possibly even killed for such a thing. Maybe he's there to influence decisions quietly without ever having to report back, right?
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm with you.
I mean, this is a way to think of maesters I haven't thought of before, right? If you can make a disproportionate amount of maesters, if you can find bright people and get them there, which is going to be easier the closer you are to Old Town. So the Reach and Dorne, and to a lesser extent the Stormlands and the Westerlands, have the like cost of them sending somebody to the Citadel, getting them there, having them take a chance, at least as pure resources go, is not as much as somebody from the north, the Riverlands, the Iron Islands, et cetera, to send somebody there. Just because traveling over a distance and communicating over a distance has like a real world like cost. And that's something that becomes difficult in a like pre-industrial society. That is a great way to build influence, though, because every house has a maester. Every single noble house of a certain level has a maester, and that level goes down pretty far. So you can get a lot of political influence just by teaching your worldview, teaching your opinion of history. Control of education is the thing that authoritarians and you know ideal ideologically pure people dream of, right? I'm going to teach you my vision of the world.
Whoa,
Maybe
whoa, whoa. Hold for
in
a second.
yeah.
Whoa. Is that what Fire and Blood is?
Oh, the book, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. It's
Is that part of an organized re-education effort?
I would totally believe that all education is leaving some things out and putting some things in for different reasons. Sometimes because it's you know sometimes it's for fair reasons. Sometimes you can say we stopped teaching people Johnny Appleseed because the story we had wasn't really real or useful. But I learned Johnny Appleseed. There, that was put there for a reason. Uh,
You mean
and
the
that
apple
reason was
juice?
probably political in nature.
Yeah. Yeah, by Big Apple.
Big Apple. I
Yeah.
mean, unironically, New
Steve
York's a huge apple state.
Steve Jobs
It's
wants
called the
you
Big
to
Apple.
Steve Jobs wants you to keep believing in Johnny Appleseed.
Before he died of ligma, yeah. Uh,
Who's Steve Jobs?
ligma balls.
Anyway.
Uh,
Zach, I'm not sure how much more I have on this.
I think that this this has become an interesting lens to view things, right? Maester Luwin is probably from nowhere near Winterfell. He was raised in a very different environment, and he was taught things in a very different area, of which there are multiple politically important houses who do things like send their best and brightest there, who do things like probably donate money and maintain the area around Old Town, and might exert some influence on how people there are educated, or at the very least, even if they have no control over that, it's completely hands off, and the Citadel is self-governing to the truest extent it possibly can be. If I am, Mace Tyrell or Doran Martell or whoever, I can hand select somebody who I know agrees with me on 95% of political issues, or 80%, whatever the best I can get is, who's a good reader and a good learner, and say, you get to go to the Citadel. And anybody who's a dissident, I can say, well, good luck. You're going to have to go on your own, right? If you want to go, you're going to have to find somebody to take you there, find some place to lodge you. You're going to have to do it with all your own money. Good luck. But that, the political importance of maesters is huge. They always consult with maesters before pretty much any major decision. We see it all the time.
And we see this through John's perspective, John and Sam both.
Yeah,
The Night's Watch do not pick a maester. They wrote and asked for new maesters.
and then a maester is sent to them with no consideration on their part.
Yeah, they get whichever ones they get. Like this,
Yeah,
the most prime example that I can think of off the top of my head is the maester in the Sworn Sword, who is Ironborn. For some reason serving in the middle of the Reach.
away from where his opinions on Ironborn culture, he's deep inland too. His knowledge and opinions are less relevant there.
Yeah,
And Maester Aemon's a great example too. You've got a member of the Targaryen dynasty who knows Targaryens on a personal level because they're his family, and you send him to the wall, the one place where that really actually doesn't matter at all, it's so he can't opine, right? So he can't possibly influence politics via somebody.
No, it's so
Being
that
a
he
maester
can.
means he can't take the title, or at the very least, that's implied. I don't think it's ever been fully litigated in a way that some other things have. But if he was, the maester to a powerful house, he could say, "Oh, no, 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 no! You can trust my brother Aegon. He's a cool dude. He's a little ambitious. He can be, a little bit of a snarky guy, a little bit of a snarky boy, but he's a good person at heart." And that might sway somebody's political decision, right?
Yeah. So why are people being put in places that they are so unfamiliar with? And can we make, like, with this in mind, can we make like a maester map? Can we start to get a sense of, like, Maester Crescent?
Yeah,
Is it possible for us to figure out where Maester Crescent is from and like what he's up to? Right? Can we trace Maester Crescent to a source? And can we figure out where and how these disparities are coming from? Who's another good example? Um, so like Sam. Sam has been sent to get his Maester's chain.
yeah.
He is assuming, John is assuming that Sam will be allowed to turn right back around and come back to the Night's Watch. Um,
He does have the vow to keep, so that would be the most convenient way to handle it.
yeah, but like also, the Night's Watch is kind of a bunch of bumbling idiots.
Yeah, correct.
We can just say, they can just write them back and say, we will not be sending you back Sam Tarley. We will instead be sending you back 1,000 gold dragons. Don't talk to us about it again. We sent you this other maester because Sam Tarley, we have, you're supposed to separate yourselves from your, like, from your people, from your house. So we're not sending them back to the Night's Watch. We're instead making him a maester.
It's tough to say what would happen in that scenario, but yeah, it's possible.
It's very
Um,
strange.
yes, and that's yeah, a Maester map would be interesting. It could be that they're doing that as a part of like a cultural exchange sort of program, right? Like this makes sure that like ideas get spread from kingdom to kingdom, and that stabilizes the realm to some extent, or nationalizes issues in a way. That's one of the, if you want to polarize a kingdom, make sure the people in the north have opinions about things that are happening in Dorne, and then they will care. If a fight breaks out, they'll already have a preconceived notion of who their friends and enemies are, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. It's information warfare at its very core.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
If you get
educational
somebody who
warfare.
has opinions about Dorne and they're highly negative in your court, and you hear Dorne's doing something, you're gonna. I think about lenses, the way we view information all the time. I'm gonna talk about it in an upcoming video, possibly on my personal channel. When you set the lens as something negative, it's a real, when all you have is a hammer, everything is, all you see is a nail sort of scenario. If you're looking at the thing in the lens of like, your maester is like, oh, I was in Doran, and it was all like court politics and whispers, and you really couldn't trust anyone. And you get a letter from Doran saying, hey, this new king is illegitimate or did something terrible or something of that sort. You're viewing it through the lens of, this is a place known for shifty politics. Should I believe this?
Similarly, if you're in the Reach and your maester at your if you're and your maester at Coldmoat is Ironborn, your opinion of the Ironborn is necessarily colored by the presence of that person.
Yes.
Presumably, the Ironborn you have doesn't like the Ironborn. because they became a maester, and the Ironborn don't really care for that most of the time.
Yeah. That's going
Interesting.
to change your opinion of the Ironborn way of life.
Freaking wild that Dunk's life was saved because one rando. You know what? You can make an argument that that's another brand intervention. That's another timeline intervention
Oh, for sure.
because Duncan the Tall was going to die. Um, if not for this one random ass Ironborn in the middle of the Reach.
Yeah, that is strange that that worked out in such a fashion.
Yeah.
All right, I think I don't
Yeah.
think we can prove the Luwin connection. I don't think we can prove Luwin's from Dorne, and in fact, it's tough to say that for sure. But what I think we can say for sure is he doesn't seem like he's from anywhere particularly close to the north,
Yeah.
and there is a distinction to put his name with another name we know is comes from a Dornishman, which kind of in your mind makes you think he's not from that far
Yeah. He doesn't need to be a Martell, but maybe he's from one of the like lesser Andal houses around like the north of Dorne, right?
if
Maybe
he was the fourth born of adult, that would make sense, right?
exactly, right. Right. I'm pretty sure that with the name Luwin, he's not he's not he's not an Umber, right?
He's the second cousin of uh you know Lord Manwoody or something of that sort.
So this isn't the interesting thing I thought we were going to start picking at, but this is a different interesting thing and I would like to pick at it a little bit more. A Maester
Sure.
exchange. Yeah, yeah, we can develop that into something. That's very interesting. Maybe we can make a Maester map. In fact, if anyone wants to comment, tell us some names of Maesters and see if you can draw lines between them and names elsewhere in the book series. So like Crescent, I don't know I don't know the language family that Crescent's name comes from. But if you can find anyone with similar names, maybe we can figure out where Crescent is from. Same thing with the Maester in what's it called? The Maester in the Sworn Sword. Maybe we can figure out what Ironborn house he is likely to be associated with.
Yeah, we have precious little information about most spacers. Like we don't have a ton of information like Pycelle we've talked about before, who his family could be. But we really don't have a ton to go off of on that.
Pycelle. Pycelle.
Which is a strange name as far as naming conventions go. We
Mm-hmm.
haven't met a lot of Pycelles.
Do we know of any ELLEs? Donnell? Pycelle Donnell? Is he a Lothston? That'd be weird.
Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm. Get in the comments. I trust you guys.
yeah,
Zach, I think that's our show.
I think so.
Thank you very much for hanging out. I really appreciate you doing this at 1:30 on Christmas Eve.
Yes. And I don't know if the medicine I took is making me sleepy or if that's just because 1:40 on a Christmas Eve, but it was fun. And I'm gonna ponder this a lot. I left us more questions than we started with, which is my favorite way to end a video.
I agree. We're gonna have new things to attack in the next couple of weeks. Zach, let's do like a big recording session the next couple of weeks. I'm excited.
Same, same.
All
We
right,
should do that for sure.
all right, Zach. Say goodbye.
Bye.